folks, Ariel over here at Finance. Today I want to talk for a minute about a new project I've started. If you're new, welcome. I live here with my husband, a couple dogs, cats, a bunch of chickens, ducks, bees, and so on in this tiny house here in the mountains of Wyoming. Today it is storming outside. It's blowing snow sideways. Every now and then the sun pops out for a second and it goes back to being a total whiteout. So it's a good day for inside things. One of the projects I've started this year that I really wish I'd actually started about 2 years ago when I first purchased this property, and I had thought about it then and not gotten to it, is a property journal. So I've got this neat journal, which I think is pretty cool. If I remember, I'll link down below to it, but you could use anything. Anyway, this is not like a personal journal, which is something I've also kept for years, but this is just for our property. So, the way this book is set up worked very nicely for what I wanted. I don't think that was the intention. I think this was designed to be a small personal journal, but on every page, if you guys can see, there is a little teeny spot for each day on, say, this is May 20. There's 10 different spots for you to fill in what day of the week it is, etc. And what I'm using this for, of course we're back in February right now, is just to note anything that's going on around the property. The weather, the temperatures, whether it's sunny or snowy, warm or cold, what the chickens are doing, how many eggs they're laying, what I see the bees doing. In the summer, there'll be a little bit more to note along these lines, what's blooming, what we're harvesting, how things are growing, what's budding out, when things flower, and so on. So right at the moment, this doesn't do me a whole lot of good. But my hope is that over the course of years, when I flip open to, say, February 8th or whatever, I can look through and see, February 8th, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and so on, and be able to compare over time what happens on our particular little piece of land here. Because each place is unique, especially here in the mountains. We tend to have more microclimates than a lot of areas, but a lot of places have this. And so I want to start a record of just what happens here. When we have chickens want to go broody, when they hatch out, how many they hatch out, so on, because I know from past experience and living in other places that over time each place has kind of signals for different things. Like there are people who know that this particular fish will be biting in this place when this flower blooms, or that when I first see the green leaves on this, then this is going to happen, and so on. And those things are different for each place, and sometimes they're a little bit different year to year. But I've found with my record keeping only in the form of photos over years, that just for one example, whenever the first hummingbirds return to our area, and the first bluebirds, that's something I often try to snap a photo of when I first see them for the year, is off every year after year is within a couple days of the same exact date every year. So I thought it'd be really fun to, over time, because we hope to be on the property here for a while, have that record for things here. When are the buds starting to swell? When did this apple tree bloom? When did the cherry tree start to bloom? And so on, because this would then be a valuable reference. I hope to spend the rest of my life here. I hope to fill this one up and then start more decade journals over time, but you never know what the future may bring. But if we did ever leave, this would be the kind of thing I would think should stay with a property, because it's a record of this particular place. And this also lets me then go back and look up, again, hopefully over time. Right at the moment, I've only started this back in January, a little bit at the end of December. You could start at any time of year, because each date is, the way this one's set up, and this is why I could start it in June 25th, and you just fill in whichever year, you're writing on, and go from there, and it'll just keep circling through the book, if that makes sense. But anyway, to be able to go back through and see, when things normally happen, to be able to flip through and be like, okay, so we're coming up on March, what was usually going on about then? Or to be able to reference, when did we plant something and, oh, that was too early, it froze, or when did we plant something and that was too late, we wish we'd had it in earlier. Just that kind of thing, very particular to our particular little few acres right here in this one neat spot. But I don't remember who first inspired me to do this. I think this is something, I read so much and listen to so many people, I honestly don't recall where all I've heard of this idea, but I remember somewhere encountering the idea that old farms from centuries ago would sometimes do something like this and have it kind of be a farm book that would be passed down from generation to generation, so other people could go back through and be like, oh, yeah, see, that's, our lambs always came on this day when Grandpa was young, or that kind of thing, which I just thought was a neat thing. So that's what we're creating here. So again, this isn't like a personal feelings journal, or thoughts or experiences, but back on January 29th, I just wrote, for example, we got about 3 inches of snow overnight and through the day, temps in the 20s, but dropping rapidly this evening to below 0. We got 6 more eggs for a total of 4 dozen for the week, and the project we were doing in Clay's shop that day. So, anyway, I thought some of you guys, if you haven't encountered this idea, might like a similar idea. Of course, you could use a plain notebook, plain sheets of paper. I was hoping to just have something that was easy to hang on to and not lose all my little papers, because I tend to have little stacks of little papers that I make notes on. And so I thought something bound together would be handy, and as I was looking, this one seemed to fit exactly what I was wanting. It's got enough, and it's like 3.5 lines for each day, plus a place to record like I said, the year, the weather, the day of the week, and so on. And it's been very handy so far, and hopefully in a lot of years I'll still be doing it. But I thought some of you guys, especially if you've got your own little property, anything outside of your house, or even if you just have an apartment, I mean, you could still do the same kind of thing and record in your area. When do you see this bloom? When do you see this come? When do you see that go? Etc. To practice, your observational skills in that area, especially if you plan to stay in the area. That's useful things to know. So anyway, that's my start on my 10-year property journal, and hopefully if you come back in a lot more years, if we're still able to do videos, you'll find that we're still doing this and finding it to be a useful resource at that point, because right now it's basically just getting started. Hopefully that's a helpful tip for some of you guys that you might find interesting. Have a great day and enjoy whatever kind of weather you are having right now.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.